This is Umar for BoxNation. I'm at the headquarters of Frank Warren, and I can see the award here that you picked up the other day, the Lifetime Achievement Award. Frank, I know you were, very humble in winning it. It's not really your thing to gloat about something like that. And you said, more importantly, for boxing, it's really good that that's happened. But yeah, when you look back at it, you've joined a group of elite people, if you like, who have won that award. So a few days on, do you have any different thoughts to it? How do you look back at it?
No, I was really, obviously, delighted to get it from the sports industry. It covers all sports, and to get the boxing one is good. Obviously, I'm delighted to get it, but also for boxing, that boxing gets an award. It's good. I enjoyed it. It was a nice evening, and it's very kind of them to even consider me in the first place.
Bump into some familiar faces there?
Yeah, lots of some familiar, some old faces I hadn't seen for a long time. Yeah, it's good. It was a lovely evening. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, of course. Look, we go to 99% of the time just the same people boxing, and that's what we love. I'm not complaining about it, but there was a lot of people from the sporting world, political world as well. Alistair Campbell was there.
Yeah,
but,
good mate of mine. Yeah.
But yeah, see sort of people from other sports as well. Big names, well-recognised names, people I'm sure you've spent time with before. On the whole, it seemed like a good evening there, Frank.
Yeah, they packed out. I mean, it's the sports industry. That's what it is. It's coming together from everybody from all different sports, not just participants and promoters. It's TV companies, sponsors, all everybody who contributes to make sports such a great success in the UK.
I know you were asked on the night, give me your biggest achievement that you've had in the last 47 years when you've been working in this sport. I mean, that must be very difficult to pin down. So I'm going to ask something else. What was the moment where everything changed? And what I mean by that is the point we've got today where the sport's been revolutionised, and obviously you've played a pivotal role in that. Where was the biggest change for you, when you started out as a promoter?
Getting a TV deal, getting ITV on board when there was only in those days two main channels, terrestrial channels. There's no satellite, no streaming, nothing like that. And boxing was only on BBC television. And to get ITV involved in domestic boxing was a major coup.
Okay, that sounds fair enough. Right, Frank, there's lots to talk about in terms of things going on at Queensberry. But firstly, the place I want to start is the weekend. Queensberry had a break from having a show. Obviously, you've just come off Cacace-Wood. We're going to look forward to Taylor-Essuman this weekend, but Matchroom went on the weekend at the Copper Box with the rematch with Fisher and Allen. I know you were at the first fight in Riyadh. Just give me your take on what you saw.
It was what it was. It was Johnny was doing quite well, boxing well, and eventually Dave got to him, and those final shots, those combinations. Were really good shots. You've got a big ticket seller in Johnny, and Dave sells tickets as well. Dave sells tickets, but when you see a big attraction, a guy the public get behind, it's sometimes it's sad to see that happen, because obviously it's good for the game to bring more and more people in. But Dave, on the other hand, he's had a career, tough at times, and you've got to say he deserved his success on the night. The difference between the two of them was really down to experience. That's what it was. It was down to experience, and it was exciting win. It was an exciting win that he had.
Frank, from the first fight, as you said, you were at. Lots thought that Dave Allen did win that fight. Considering the stage Johnny is at in his career, which is very early on, he's a big ticket seller. If you were looking after him, would you have gone into that immediate rematch?
Oh, no, we can always be smart after the event, can't we? What we should have done, what we shouldn't have done. I mean, looking at it right now, no, I wouldn't have done, because he got beat. If he'd have won, there wouldn't be a question. It happened, and ifs and whys and whats, we've all done that in the past, and thought why we made certain moves. They're done. It was no one forced anyone to fight. Both the fighters wanted to do it. They did it. and that was the outcome. And now it's all about John's in. You know, he can pick up the pieces and come back as a stronger fighter. We'll see.
What level do you think he's at, Johnny Fisher?
Well, at the moment, I think they're under British title level at the moment. He only had 12 fights as a pro. Is it 12 or 13 fights?
12, 13, yeah.
12, 13 fights. I mean, it's not a lot of fights for especially a heavyweight for a professional. I mean, Moses had one less than him. How old is John now?
25, 26.
Yeah, he's 26. He's 6 years older than Moses then.
So look, I'm going to come on to, you've won the purse bids for Adeleye-TKV. Are you a little bit disappointed though that, we were talking about this potential fight with Adeleye and Fisher as a Queensberry v Matchroom fight, maybe on a 5v5 or just on its own? That at the moment seems like it's not going to come to fruition.
It's not there, is it, at the moment? It's not at the moment, and it's who knows? Maybe down the road it might happen again. Who knows? Dave's got himself in a good position. He had a good. He gave a good account of himself, and maybe, he'll get involved in one of these fights. But we'll see what happens down the road.
Is that a fight you'd like to make with Matchroom, Adeleye-Allen?
Yeah, I'd do that. Yeah, I'd do that. Why not?
Okay, coming on to Adeleye and TKV, as I said, you won the purse bid. So are you guys expecting to announce that fight soon?
Yes. I think we'll do it this week.
Okay, right. Frank, I saw on my way here, you guys posted on social media that it has been settled, the court case, amicably with Chris Eubank Jr. So just tell me about that situation, Frank.
That's it. It's been settled, and I'm very happy with the settlement.
Okay. Also, in the statement, it did say, with these proceedings now settled, both Frank Warren and Chris Eubank Jr. look forward to a positive professional relationship in the future. Now, look, I've heard your views on Chris Eubank Jr. before, which you're entitled to have as a fighter. You've given your views as a person as well. But now moving forward, how's that going to be with Eubank?
I'd like to fight one of our guys. We've got a big fight coming up on the 12th of July in New York, Berlanga fight with Hamza, and he comes through that. What a great fight that would be. I'd love to do that fight. Or he'll come up a weight and fight him at his weight. Denzel.
Right. So now that things have been settled in terms of that legal case, and you guys have both put in your statements that you look forward to a positive working relationship, is there more genuine chance of making a Eubank and Hamza fight? Because
I hope so. We'll see. It says in the statement we're looking for a positive relationship. Well, that'd be positive to make that fight, wouldn't it?
Okay. Your views on him as a fighter, though, I'm guessing they're the same, right?
Look, I've said what I've said, and I'm not going to start. We've just settled something, so I'm not going to start creating. I don't want to go there with that. I've said what I've said, and that's it.
Frank, this might be a while off, but I know you did have a meeting with Billy Joe Saunders, and you've been asked about it, and he needs to get obviously a lot of weight off. But again, that is a big fight in this country, that rematch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that'd be a big fight if the rematch was made. But Bill, as you just said, has got to get himself into fighting fit. He's been out of the ring for 3-4 years now.
Yeah.
So we'll see. There's lots of possibilities, opportunities. There's lots of ifs and buts. But you can only make the fights if the two fighters want to make them if they're fit to fight.
Okay. Now that everything has been settled, are you just kind of glad to close that chapter now in terms of that legal situation?
I'm living in the now. That's where we are. Now is what matters.
I want to ask you about a fight you just mentioned there with Edgar Berlanga Jr. and Moses-Itauma. Hamza's not really been involved in a build-up before like this. Edgar Berlanga is extremely confident. He's given it a lot to Hamza. I'm sure you saw bits from the press conference in New York. From what you saw on the screen, how do you think Hamza was handling himself?
He handled himself very well. He wasn't fazed by it, and it is what it is. It's what he does when he gets in the ring. All this stuff, what happens outside the ring, how many times we've seen guys like that who, basically try to bully the opposition and come unstuck. Hamza's a pretty cool and calm and confident individual. He'll deal with him.
Do you think he knocks out Edgar Berlanga?
If he catches him, it'll hurt him. He can punch. He's a good puncher, but he's not a one-trick pony. He can box. He's got an extremely good jab. And he's coming up a weight. I mean, you've got to take your hat off to him for taking that fight. He hasn't sort of dipped his toe in the water. He's gone straight in the deep end in that weight division.
I was going to say, obviously, he had the hand injury. He's gone to a new trainer with Adeleye, a new weight. So he could have been forgiven for taking a warm-up
Of course. And what could, don't matter what anybody says, that's the direction you could go on. But he didn't want none of that. He wanted to go straight in for a big fight. And he's got a big fight.
Also his debut in America.
And on a big stage.
Yeah. So there's a lot of new things for Hamza to experience. But if he does get that win, I mean, that Adames fight goes in the past and he can look forward to a bright future.
Yeah, of course. Look, the Adames fight was dead at the weight. I mean, you could see that. That's why he's gone up a weight. And as I say, please, whatever you feel about the Adames fight, whether it was a fortunate decision, whatever you may feel, you can't take it away from him that he's going in at the very top in fighting Berlanga.
Okay, let's look forward to this week. I know you're extremely excited about what awaits us in Glasgow with this main event, Frank. It's very hard to call a winner in this.
It's funny, a lot of people are like that. I've heard people, when we've discussed it I've discussed it with people, it's quite varied, the opinion, which is good really, because it makes it a more interesting fight, that people feel that it's a competitive fight. Josh, it's a must-win fight for him. Two-time world champion in his hometown. He's got the crowd on his side. He's looking for big fights and get himself another crack at a world title. So he's got to win it. It's a must-win for him. And then you've got in Echo somebody who is craving for an opportunity to fight for a world title, and he sees this as the gateway to getting it. And Echo's an exciting fighter like Josh. And when you look at Echo and you think, like last year, Boxing News, top 3 fights of the year, British fights of the year, he was involved in 2 of them, 2 out of 3. That tells you what he's all about. So you're going to get a fight. He's coming to fight. And I spoke to him up in Nottingham, and he's really up and ready for it. And I know Josh is as well. It's a great fight, competitive fight.
Look, Echoes, as you said, has been on a phenomenal run. He's in the peak of his powers. So we have an idea of what he's going to bring on Saturday night in Glasgow. But with Josh Taylor, it's the complete unknown. And I think that's the big question around him.
Well, it is. I mean, look, he's a quality fighter. He's at one stage he was like the guy, wasn't he, in a big way. And
he's the best fighter in Britain, pound for pound.
Yeah. So let's see. It's not like he's an ancient or old man, and he's not got a lot of miles on the clock. So let's see where he's at. But he seems to have the bit between his teeth. The reports I'm getting back that he's trained and looked very good in the gym. I know some of the sparring partners that are up there. I know I speak to the manager of one of them and said he's looking in tip-top condition. But then again, so's Echo. So you're going to get a great fight.
Yeah. In terms of the undercard as well, you've got an all-Scottish clash between Lee McGregor and Nathaniel Collins.
That's a cracking fight, that. I mean, can you imagine what the atmosphere is going to be like for that one? That's a brilliant fight.
Also, Moses and Alois, 2 heavy hitters return. Yeah,
2 youngsters, 2 guys on a mission, and 2 very, very exciting, big punching fighters. Big punching. Both of them got dynamite in their fist.
How far do you think Alois can go?
I think he can go all the way. He's a handful, and he's hurtful. I mean, he hurts people. Ben trains them both, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, actually, Ben, I spoke to you before, who's trained AJ, Tyson Fury. He's got Fabio Wardley, Moses, Lee Wood, who's a ferocious puncher. But he said Alois is the heaviest hands he's had on the pads.
Yeah, he said that. He said that to me. So, it's going to be exciting again.
With Moses, has there been any talks with Billy Nelson about a potential Bakole clash or not?
Billy Nelson sent me a text saying about making a fight at the end of the year or next year.
Are you happy with that, end of this year?
Well, I mean, Moses is not sitting around waiting for him, is he? I mean, he's going to get on with his business, and who knows? I mean, I would expect by the end of this year, Moses to have at least another three fights. Yeah. If I was going to fight Moses, I'd fight him now. I wouldn't want to be fighting him in 3 fights' time when he's got more experience and he's growing and maturing. But listen, that's what it is.
So he's having this run out, as I said, this Saturday. If you hadn't received that text, in your mind, when would you have been happy to make Moses and Martin?
I sat at ringside. I'm sat at ringside. Ben Shalom was there, and I said to him at the time, I said, we'll do that fight whenever you like.
Do you think they're backing out of this fight?
Listen, I'm not going to go there with that. I mean, I'm not even going to start. You know my views, and and I'm not going to go there again with all that trying to. I haven't got to drum up Bakole. That ain't my job. I'm in the Moses Itauma business, and that's all I care about is Moses, and I have no problem with him fighting Bakole at all.
What about a Philip Hrgovic clash?
Yeah, I think it's a good fight to make. Yeah, I wouldn't have no problem doing that sometime this year.
Okay, Frank, a fight we've got to make surely is Dillian Whyte and Whyte-Okolie, no?
I'd love to see that. I think it's a great fight. They both said they won it, didn't they? Both of them. So, let's see where we can go with that one. I like that fight.
Okay. So, as I said, we've come off Cacace-Wood. Has there been any communication to you or the board, anything? Have they said anything about, Steve Gray's scorecard? Are they going to look at this? Or?
I haven't had any conversation about it.
Do they need to look at it?
Do they need to look at it? I mean, it's not a question. I mean, look at it. What you've got to need, no one needs me to tell them to look at anything. They're all there. You watch it. And at times there are, people disagree and whatever. So I don't get people saying I'm talking about the scorecard. Of course I'm talking about scorecards. Why wouldn't I talk about a scorecard? I want to look at a scorecard after a fight and see how the judges had it if the fight gets stopped. That's the business I'm in. I want to look and see what the judges like. And I want to think about that judge. Harry scored fights in with previous fighters that I'm involved with. Of course I bloody do. That's my job. I just thought Steve Gray got it wrong, and I'm not being disrespectful to Lee. He's a fabulous guy and whatever, but I thought his scorecard was ridiculous.
Okay, in terms of
not just me, I think nearly everybody did. I don't know anybody who's disagreed with me. If they have, and that's their opinion. My opinion is what it is, and no one's going to change what I'm looking at. I've been doing it a long time, been very successful in guiding. I've guided more British and more British fighters to world championships, and managed more world champions or champions at all levels than anybody in this business. So, of course I make mistakes every now and then. There might be a close decision and you whatever, but I don't need anybody to tell me what I'm looking at. I don't know now. I should be doing my job.
I think, you've touched upon it there. The concerning thing there is if, say, he didn't stop him and Steve Gray and another judge had it, you've just ruined Cacace's career. Well,
that's the problem. That's the problem about it. And it's just, and my problem about it, it's not against Steve Gray, against a judge. Everybody's accountable. If I put a shit show on, I'll get some stick. If I say something about a decision, I'll get stick if someone don't agree. The judges, and I believe this is quite right, by the way, the judges and the referee never, ever give press statements. So nobody, they're not accountable. What I want is accountability. I genuinely believe if you're a football referee and you screw it up, you get dropped down a level. And I believe if that happens once or twice or continually, or there's something wrong, if that happens, I believe that should be the case with boxing referees and judges. There have to be some accountability. Everybody has to be accountable for what they do.
So in that instance, are you saying that DAZN should interview Steve Gray straight after the fight?
No, I'm not saying that. Okay. I just said I don't believe that they should be interviewing judges. No more than they interview football referees or whatever. The one thing about referees in rugby games, they're mic'd up so you can hear what's being said. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but it seems over the last recent years, we're having these, like, two judges more or less are on the same page and then one's way off. And we've had that quite a few times recently, and I don't understand that. I don't get that. And as I say, and there has to be some accountability. There has to be some accountability.
Okay, well, in terms of Anto's career, he's made it very clear. Shakur, Tank, he's called them out.
Well, and that's it. He's there to fight them. He's a strong. I tell you, he's a much better fighter than people even think he is. You look at him, and I think Lee said it. You know, he's very rangy. He's hard to hit. They all found that, and you know, since he's knuckled down and showed that, you know, talent got him where he was. Now the hard work and what he's doing in the gym has got him to where he's at now. He's a handful for anybody. I'd back him against Shakur.
Wow. Okay.
I'd back him. Why wouldn't I? You've seen Shakur's last 2 fights. Nothing I've seen there would make me worry about Anthony getting in the ring with him. I think he would give him a lot of problems.
You know, a good option here as well is a fight with him in Belfast, headline against the Shakur Foster, world champion.
Yeah.
Is that another possibility?
Well, we are going to take him back to Belfast.
Okay, fine. Frank, just a couple of more things before we close off. You know, loads of strong rumours going around about this potential fight with Callum Smith and Anthony Yarde. Where are we with that?
I'd like to see it, and I think both the fighters have said they'd like to see it. Queensberry like it, and Matchroom like it. So let's try and get it on.
Does that make sense for a 5v5 as well?
It does. It does. It does.
Okay. Last one. It's exactly 2 months to go till the biggest fight this country has ever seen in Usyk and Dubois, the rematch. Yeah, we're 8 weeks away, as I said, exactly, and the hype's already building. So when it gets around to fight week, it's going to be huge.
4 belts, history in the UK on the line, and first time a British fighter can win or attempt to win the 4 belts, and it's a fight that we all have our views on. It's a fight that the first time round was very controversial. There's a very controversial moment in that fight, so we're going to see. We're going to see you know, who's the real deal.
Absolutely. Happy with tickets so far as well for that? Yeah,
I think we're up 69. I think it was on Friday. I don't know what it's up to today over the weekend, but there's about 69 up till then. It's going phenomenally well. It's online to be sold out.
Okay. Well, that is 2 months away, but this Saturday, all attention turns to Glasgow for Josh Taylor v Hrgovic-Itauma. I've heard tickets for that have gone really well as well.
Yes, I don't think there's only a few left. There's very few tickets left there. I'm looking also to the guys making their debuts as well, and you know, the youngsters. I'm seeing Alex, Arthur's young boy making his debut. You know, considering Alex won his world title with me, that's quite good. You got old Master Limond on there. You know, he's fighting. His dad was a great guy, and you know, he fought for me quite a few times over the years. There's some really good fights on that card.
Well, if you're lucky,
some good stories on the card. They're good stories.
If you're lucky enough to have a ticket, we'll see you up there in Glasgow. If not, it's live on DAZN.
Live on DAZN, and as you say, you know, there's only a couple of tickets left, so watch it because it's going to be another exciting Queensberry fight.
Brilliant. Well, on that note, Frank, thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you up in Glasgow.
You certainly will, young man.
Up until now, there's still a question mark.
Usyk has shown that he is the man.
Usyk's beaten Joshua twice. He's beaten Fury twice.
He's the closest that I've watched and thought, you've mastered boxing.
He's the defining champion of the era.
This version of Daniel Dubois,
Beating Jerome Miller, beating Filip Hrgovic.
then to go to Wembley Stadium.
Daniel goes in as the underdog.
He was like a man possessed.
I knew he was going to win that fight.
Anthony Joshua eviscerated him.
Seeking this joy, that's how I fight.
This is the guy ready to take the throne.
2 semi-finals. You had Usyk fighting Fury, you had Dubois fighting AJ. This is like the final.
This rematch against Usyk is completely different.
Taking place
At Wembley Stadium,
90+ thousand people.
all the belts on the line.
In front of a global audience, live on DAZN.
now we have a chance to see who is the best.
It's going to be something special.
Do not blink.